Lamo Ladakh se gyalsa le karyoga naste yotkane Ladakh se sigzo zangpoji kabo nasabo thonga chignang nyampo Ladakh Lanjik ngotupche se spaljane khampaji munshi nang gyau niske sngon me khampe nanga yotkan Lamo I lamwe chaglas po kurang Ladakh se lam lukrol shezrik tang sngon me ster chupogun mimang skun la ngon chupche ser gan namskanjik Lamo
In the beginning of the 21st century, Leh town was changing a lot. There were lots of new buildings coming up. There were lots of old buildings being pulled down. There were a lot of old heritage structures that were, not considered very important anymore. And I think in the light of all that was happening in Leh in sort of 2000, 2001, 2002. I felt very sort of distressed by it, upset by it, and wish that things would change. And one Ladakhi gentleman told me, well, if you really care so much, why don't you do something yourself? So in 2003, Dr. Munshi was introduced to Lamo by John Harrison, who was a conservation architect working here. He was working on Lunpo House, which is just above Munshi House. And Dr. Munshi was very keen on getting his house restored and conserved because it was a very important house in sort of the whole Ladakh's history and in the whole sort of cultural fabric that was the old town of Leh. So after meeting Dr. Munshi a couple of times, then Lamo decided to take on this house and restore it. We worked with John Harrison. It took us probably about a whole year to work out a lease deed at that time with Dr. Munshi, because I don't think there were many lease deeds at that time written up in Ladakh. And in 2005, we finally actually decided, we actually started work on the house. John Harrison is from Wales, and he was the conservation architect who worked on this building, and he had a team over here that consisted of Ladakhi skilled artisans, as well as labor, mainly from the Doda, and also Ladakh's first conservation architect, Delden Angmo. She also worked on this building, and other people who also documented the structure for us. Most of the funds for doing the restoration work came from private sources. It was very difficult at the time to get funding from outside or even from within the community, because I think in the early 2000s people didn't also not think much of giving support to mud architecture or to mud buildings. And in Ladakh till that time, a lot of conservation work had been done on palaces, monasteries, but very little work had been done with sort of vernacular homes. There wasn't much attention on that. And our whole idea was to also sort of say, what can you do with an old house? I mean, okay, maybe it's difficult to live in Old Town. You don't have regular electricity. You don't have water, a constant water supply. But there are other ways that you can also use an old house. And I think that was the whole thing that we wanted to also show. What is the sort of, how you can readapt an old house for contemporary use.
Munshi house ya Munshi kampa jiksop churchesi sangme sampantok chenmo zena teo no reale chezena I kampa Munshi kampa wo part sumi na ayat kya chang part chik po zena changme sang khuli na ayat kamdo changme sang ningpa no reale tene tewo ka Ladakh la le gyalsa gyuri sangan la le agyapo mane maskyo de ngan la no teole testing ne te sang khetok pe ka tene gyaltuz la sixkani part po te no reale tene changme sang khetok po ka nga tang daksa juxtoti ka oi part kun tene british tuzla sixkano so pa ivena khampajing man pa le khorang goma kazu ding chukpa chukste be history te no reale 그래서 상매상 욕보 때네 고마 야포시코데 상한라 레만에 중인직만에 몇 개래래 이나가에 캄페 상매상 욕배는 자파가 강지용전 테볼레베 본드린 개래래 때나 자파 campa 욕배가 차나 잠벨단 라양 용전래 Testinete daksa shik stok te mane kha ka te japa kyang bo yang yot kerele to taspa bumde tuzla I japa kyang bo shik te tene le te chikchen mo gyurkan bo shes dup chezana taspa bumde tuzla chamba sum ko shams kerele chamba sumbo tene yo chamba shanga chamba be ka chap te japa kyang bo chagala shik sa dia chompa te zane te kanya wa tene enshan le bo te chikchen mo sonte testine gapo ka jux pa sangnar se mo jans tene le khar jans te sangba jans champo tene yang Ladakh se ja sangba ne mi mangpo yons te ka settle sonte tenele wachenmo son kerela teni kyang bang pura ji kerela son pai mushi kampe sangme sanga kulbo ngal lai ka ga dini sangta lo dunga ga bi ngan chokseno chezana te gaposhko de sangal la yala son pa tene ibo jiksopo mangcha ngata daksa manisha na tene John Harrison bo tuzuk conservation architect pod the team si kampa jiksop chokani maste expert chigot penele kemise gampo lasa nang skardogun la po ngata pod team si kampa nang shingsak nang tesang ma conservation nang jiksop chokani ngala sompa khorang last po galek chachas mane kwa yang chang dotpa jigmet pin sompa ibe jiksop pang maste cham tup nyan nganma nang choksong khorika song to diale kemane dware re pakbur re jagma chonga gornang tenna jage ka kwa te patience product pinle son payo conservation bang jiksop pang cham tup nyan nganma nang chok song to diale tene ibo yomche chen ngati thu ni pia 21st century nang nganme le kazu sha goma le ina ngata stana le goma kazu suskan ne pura logis po yoten rela to ngati student sang ma ngati mi sang ma ngati academician sang ma ngati research tu chinchat ibo ngata status pia document churches pia lucian rela
Jureng nemia chring chusumile teninga Ladakh Arts and Media Organization library teninga library ngai khare yogne teninga ina munshi khampai le tena ngai office boyle teninga library na eso ma chabuk tene related like as a media related then contemporary arts then religions then ngati yang Ladakh se history ka book ma potele then ina section alag just reference section magazine section then gender section then ika children section yale Teningeja sujik ika silaskum ika book means ya silaskum nina teningeja nam skonon dikte nole tene Monday to Saturday kali students matsukpa tene jartang festival chino yale
Sanga lama last chune punyale tene lama last I residential last chune tene ina last ma project bin tene ne teo samai ko kai ka exhibition jikchen samyale jungyale tene I exhibition ba daksa jak nisum ingala tene elaborate sonte ingale tene I exhibition ba tarun ina dachik chipek lusajat tene Mimang skuna join ki nija gunika skote I last gun 6000 tene I kane last gulne skola nit sebek chek dor se nge juniale tene goma ikane I thuli trebo ketang niche so sin jarang ko na Ladakh sang pilla chane tene te chane thuli trek experiment jichos punyale tene ote thuli trek ka changla kala jik pass na bota sun testing ne jaksik photo gas punyale tene ote photo ina ketana rina toxic reuse jik toxic ote thong pele tene ote thong pasang ote riu ketana chile ote photography na thong pasang ote inspiration jik choriale ma ote tene te ka ote kane manab ote moment be kane start something I truly take a last experiment something just when tene ote chun nang tene idachi ka mala experiment choste nyane
I lamo ngala ngata 2009 na I start to skap te sangala I lame building of proper ngata jixte met kyakte tiun dangai da documentation choste tiun da sangai ina editing choste tene da ngala ka lukshi dupin da sa ka lukshi dupte te sanganga ina editing choste miungul na stanat tene ang suje ngata yang stache se dotpa yodna ngajai ka skul nam diksa nok stala
Lamo Center School nge topic junale tene ikane ngata e khongwe ngata le kharyo ga yote no khampa ni jote no ju tene ikane ngata yos pone gemi khampa tene khampa che bo khete na ngata le munshi khampa ne tene te bo khete na ngata ni stong tuk ngagu ne na tene jiksop pulte tene lo sumjik ngata gor khakten te sting ne tene te bena ngata Tengsang e dangdri tu sita zotang sarpel zena chijunang ngata e chokse digrim lasta ngata mangpojgi na tuzgun dulinjuk sano ina tenas kyang ngata yunu mangpojgi ka khaglena nok tene te lasta gunina chot pasang tene iwe kane ta nge juches tunta kole tene ngata ngamme standing karing ngaba ngata khapa yin pa Ladakh gampena man ma mangpo yuli lula yotenoji Tatego jigdal chama chuga ngatae jigso pulte boraza chespu ma khachanduga chesute varsivar sistang ma gyala jingdole tene tebe kol thap se yang ngata thaps ma ta project ngata ika daksang ngata chame mi dunla jigses la yotelo te tengsa ngata e lastir lasta desu sulchese pia met khamet ngata yang samajik ma stig marsiga tene ichokse yang ngata campaign pagung la jigso pulte tene ichokse activities mama project join just scaps ma doctor duale
the restoration work was at one level quite sort of not simple but it was manageable but at other levels it was also difficult because Ladakhi houses are sort of built over the years. It's not like this whole building was constructed 400 years ago. It was done in stages, so in some places the foundation was weak, in other places the foundation had to be reinforced and rebuilt. We had to go all the way to the bottom and start building again. And in 2000, I think about 3 or 4 years later, one day there was a really bad storm in Leh and the big Rapsal room totally collapsed. So we had to start again. So these were some of the sort of challenges we encountered as we were restoring the building. I think since the restoration work has been done, in 2018 we received an award of distinction from UNESCO, both for the restoration work that we've done for this building and also for the use of this building. The fact that we have made this building a place where people from Ladakh can come to, they can use the place for sort of creative and artistic expression. We have workshops, we have exhibitions. We work with a lot of the young contemporary artists from the region, whether it's in visual arts, photography, painting, sculpture, music, literature. So it's very much a place that is also used for sort of the ongoing promotion of Ladakhi art and culture.
lame